Cheryl Lynch here, and today I'm going to do our monthly video on how to make a gift card holder. I don't know about you, but as my kids get older, the only things I can really think to get them are gift cards. And who doesn't love a Starbucks gift card or a gift card to Target, or even in our neck of the woods, a gift card to where you can get either gas or food. So they are very cute and very easy to make, and any gift card will just slip right inside. So what I do is I pick one fabric for the outside and a coordinated fabric for the inside. I use lots of my fabrics, and you don't need much, so you can use your scraps. This is a fabric that I hand dyed with a lining that I also hand dyed. This I really like. I have this on the back of one of my quilts, and I have a hand dyed fabric inside. This was fabric that I bought on a trip to France, and it goes great with this black and white polka dot. Some zebras that I had left over from a project, and how about theme fabrics. This one is for that Mickey lover in your family, and I do have. So you can use any of your scraps or any of your fabrics, or go out and just buy a little piece of fabric to make these gift card holders and make that gift card an extra special gift. So let's get started. To begin making the gift card holder, you need to start by making a pattern. So this is the pattern I used to cut all of mine out, and I'll show you how I made it. First, you need to start with a piece of paper that's 5 inches by 9 inches, and I just use a regular piece of computer paper. Then I measure 2 inches down from the top, and that's going to be the flap, all right? So I need to make that pointy part of the flap. So first I fold it in half this way and open it up, and then I'm going to fold each of those edges in to meet the middle. And then you trim them, and then you end up with your pattern that looks like that. Okay? So that's how you make your pattern. To start with, you need to cut 2 pieces of fabric the same size as your original piece of paper, 5 inches by 9 inches, and also you need a piece of Peltex, which is a very, very heavy interfacing. So Peltex comes, I think it's 3 different ways. It's made by Pellon, and the one that I like is the Peltex 72F. And what that means is it means it's got fusible on both sides. It comes on the bolt. So it comes like this, and then one side has this piece of plastic on, and I take that and I throw it away. So now I'm going to lay, let's set this aside. I'm going to lay 1 piece of fabric on the top of the Peltex and 1 piece of fabric on the back, and I'm going to press it. Come over to my little makeshift ironing board. I'm into pink these days. I'm in love with pink. Okay, come into the ironing board. My iron's on hot, and I press. Press, press, press. Press it for a while. And if you have steam in your iron, that's okay too. So this gets that top layer fused to the Peltex. And then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to do the bottom layer, or the inside. Press, press, press it some more. So I guess I'm pressing it maybe for the count of 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And it all seems like it's all pressed down. Oh, and I'm going to wait till it cools down a little bit. Okay? So both sides of my fabric, both the inside and the outside of the gift card holder are fused to the Peltex. Okay? The next step is to trim your fabric with the Peltex on it. So you could either use a rotary cutter with a pinking blade or a pair of pinking shears. I prefer to use the pinking blade, but it does dull rather quickly. So let's give it a try and see how it cuts. So I'm going to cut 3 sides, the 2 long sides and 1 short side, and then I'm going to use my pattern to trim the 3rd side. So let's see. If you press nice and hard, and voila, there's one piece. let's turn it and trim this would be the folded edge. And then the next long side. Now, if for some reason it doesn't cut completely, although maybe my next one won't, you can always go in there and trim it with the scissors. So let's see, let me do the last side, and I find I have to press really hard. And up, we just have a couple of little edges, so we'll just trim it. If you have a new blade, it probably won't happen, but I've been using this blade for a while. And that's okay, I just follow the edges of the pinking blade to clean it up. Okay? So we have those two edges done. Now I'll take my pattern and lay it on the gift card holder. Okay? And I'm going to trim along this edge. Not completely, but I'll come back and get that. And then I will trim along that edge. And both of them need a little bit of trimming. Trim, trim, trim. And this is really the hardest part of making these, is cutting the pinked edges. And here we go. And I do that because I just think it gives it a nice look. All right, so the next step is to fold it. We're going to fold this top down and give it a nice big crease. Press hard with your hands. So that's your flap. And then fold this one up to come to that crease. And you can see it. It's starting to look like a gift card holder. So what I want to do now is I want to secure this, put something on here that secures it. So I bought these thin clear fasteners, and it says low profile, and they're sticky, general purpose. So I put one dot on the flap, and I put its mate on the outside so that when they met, they would seal. And then I stitched around the circle. I actually used my free motion foot, and I dropped my feed dogs. I stitched around each of them because they just would not adhere to the fabric. So I stitched them down. So after stitching them down, then it was time to stitch the outside of the gift card holder. Okay, since I have my machine set up, I'm going to show you how I stitch down the Velcro dots. I have neutral gray thread in both my bobbin and on my top thread, and I use gray for all of them. It just tends to disappear. If I was maybe doing one or two, I maybe would have changed my thread, but since I did a whole bunch, I decided not to change my thread. And I have, I dropped my feed dogs, and I have a free motion foot on my machine. So here we go. So I just stitched circle, and I actually stitched around twice, and I figured that would hold. Okay? And then cut my threads, cut my thread, and now I'm going to do the same thing. That was the Velcro on the flap, and now I'm going to do the same thing with the Velcro on the body of the gift card. So I'm going to hold my threads to start again. This one's a little invisible, so it's kind of hard to see, but I found it. Here we go. Twice around, and done. And you can see it really disappears into the Velcro, especially that gray. So now we're all trimmed. So now it's time to sew together, and I'm going to put on my 1/4" foot. And I'm going to stitch as close to the edge as I can. I'm going to start on one edge, one of the folded edges, the bottom, stitch up, across, around, and down. And I'm going to back stitch a little bit on both the beginning and the end. Again, with the gray thread, it's really hard to see. And I want to make sure my needle stops in the down position. So here we go. Oh, don't forget to raise your feed dogs. And now I'm going to back stitch to the edge. And then here we go. So I'm making sure that I just catch the bottom of the pinking. And then move it over. And again. And now down the other side. And when I get close to the edge, I'm going to backstitch. And now it's all stitched together. So there's only one more step to completing your beautiful gift card holder. And this is optional, although I have a lot of fun with it. And you could just leave it like this, and it would be fine. But the one thing I like to do is I like to put a pretty button on there. So I have a big button collection, and sometimes I use big ones, and sometimes I'll use a little small decorative button. So for this Tula Pink fabric, I would like to use a pink decorative button. So let me go get my buttons. So here's my bag of red and green buttons. And let's find a nice pink one. I thought I saw a fun pink one. That would be fun, right? And this would really be fun. So I'm going to put that button on there. And for when I do a button, I like to do my buttons on my machine. And part of it is it's pretty hard to stitch, hand stitch through that Peltex. So I'm going to take and put my open toe foot on. Now, you have to open your gift card holder, otherwise you will end up sewing through everything. And you can either hold your button in place. Sometimes what I do is I will use some spray adhesive to hold the button in place. So I usually try and find a little box, and I'm showing it to you here, but I'm not going to spray near my sewing machine. I put the button in there. I take this, I'm going to move this over here, do a little spraying, and I do not love spray adhesive because if you use it a lot, it gets all over every place, but for buttons, it's perfect. And I'm going to place it right over the Velcro dot. Okay. And now I'm going to drop my feed dogs. I love doing buttons this way. Drop my feed dogs, do a zigzag stitch, make it as wide as I can. And then before I start pressing on the gas pedal, I want to make sure that it's going to go from one hole to the next. Okay? And then I will go like that, so it clears those holes and I don't break my, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And my button's done. Okay, so here is a gift card holder. And that really didn't take much time at all. And you can imagine if you did an assembly line that you can make a lot of them in a short period of time. So that was pretty easy, wasn't it? So if you need to give a gift card as a gift, just make it special. Spend 15, 20 minutes and make a holder that'll make the recipient smile. See you next month.